Abhishek Bachchan, welcome back on Bollywood Hangaama.
Thank you, Faridun.
Okay, so enjoying the response that is there for Big Bull?
Yeah, very relieved. I think your first trailer coming out is always, the first visuals are always something that gets you very nervous because that's the first time they're going to see the work you've done. And the reactions have been immense. So I'm very, very happy and very excited.
Were you reminded of Guru while filming for this film?
No, I mean, a lot of people ask me that. And I'm very flattered because Guru was such a milestone film for me in my career. And I think it's very flattering that people find it worthy of a comparison to Guru. But no, I think the only similarity between, say, Guru and the Big Bull Faridun would be the fact that it's like a rags to riches kind of a story. And that's the only similarity. Otherwise, there's no similarity at all.
Okay, and I think another question that must be asked you again and again about comparisons, Scam 92 of Big Bull.
Oh, yes. A lot of people have been asking me that. But what I've noticed, thankfully, is after our trailer came out, that conversation has pretty much stopped. I think the reason for that is because people have seen what we've made and realized that it's actually a very different approach. And it seems like a different product. So, I think that conversation has stopped. I can understand that there being conversations about it. I saw Scam last year. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was just a wonderful achievement on behalf of the entire team, from the direction to the writing, to all the technical groups, to the actors. Each and every one was just pitch perfect. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. I was also kind of relieved because I realized that our film is very different to the approach Scam has taken. Also, I think what we have to understand and appreciate, Faridun, is Scam is a web series. Ours is a film. We have to tell our story in 2.5 hours. They get 8 to 9 episodes. They've done a brilliant job with the kind of detailing they've done, and everything was just wonderful. But ours is a very different approach. So I was relieved at that. I have to be very honest. I think, Mr. Mehta and the entire cast and crew of Scam have been so gracious. I tweeted to them when I saw it, and they all very lovingly responded. And also when our trailer came out, especially Mr. Mehta and his entire team and the actors, Prateek and Shreyas, they were all so wonderful in their appreciation for what we had done. And that made me feel so nice because it just goes to show that, at the end of the day, we can talk about comparisons. And I get why people will want to talk about that. It makes great copy. But creative people have their own unique voices and they appreciate good work. Scam was very good work and I appreciated it. And I was very happy that the team of Scam felt the same way when they saw the trailer. But like I said, that conversation from what I've analyzed, through my social media has pretty much died after our trailer came out, because I think people have realized that it's a totally different approach. And I hope they look forward to seeing my film as well. And I hope they enjoy it. I'm very proud of the film. I think we've made a good film. We've all given it our best. And now the audience will decide whether they like it or not.
So I was reading one of the comments and it said that Abhishek has had a tough luck. He has been compared to his father all his life. Now he's being compared to Prateek Gandhi. So these comparisons, they keep on just thronging you again and again.
I don't have a problem with comparisons. Faridun, at the end of the day, like you said, you've compared me to the great Amitabh Bachchan. I find him to be the best. So, who else are you going to compare me to that's going to frazzle me? I'm used to being compared to him. So I'm not frazzled. But I think it's very flattering for me. I don't think I'm worthy of being compared to Prateek. I think he did a fantastic job. And I wish him all the very best for his future endeavors and for all the work that he's doing. Being an actor and being part of the film industry for 20 odd years, I know how challenging it is to be an actor, to get the due recognition. And I wish him all the very best. He's done a fantastic job. I hope he continues to do a fantastic job and he continues to get great work that is so deserved to him. And I think you're flattering me by comparing me to him. So thank you. I take it as a compliment.
Okay, now in 92, they made it clear that it's on the life of Harshad Mehta. But I believe your character's name is Hemant in the Hemant Shah. So you're not saying that it's Harshad Mehta out now. But I think the references which have been given many of them, they're pointing towards his life story. So is how much of an autobiographical element is there in this? Biographical element is there, and how much
my film, The Big Bull, is a fictitious story, inspired by true events and inspired by true people. So, I mean, a lot of, especially the initial struggle stages of Hemant Shah, are actually inspired from my director, Kuki Gulati's father. When he first came to India, to Mumbai and started his career. So there are a lot of influential lives that we've taken and made the film out of that. Also, Faridun, which you will understand because you're such an integral part of the film industry as well, is when you have a script and you need to tell that story in 2.5 hours, there's a certain element of dramatization that you bring into it. That's the kind of movies we like to see. Indian films are not stark, they're not bland. We like our drama, we like our romance, we like our song and dance. Our requirement of our films is very unique. When you're doing that and when you're dramatizing certain events and episodes, you take liberties creatively. I believe that when you're making, say, for example, a biopic, right, there's a definite moral responsibility towards the person who you're making that project on. And the responsibility is to be absolutely authentic and absolutely true to what their life was. You cannot take liberties with history. You cannot take liberties with somebody's life and what they have done and achieved. We were very clear that we wanted to make a very inspirational story. And in order to achieve that, we wanted to dramatize certain events. That is why we decided to create a fictional character and not make an autobiography.
आपने शुरू से अपने करियर में युवा से अगर हम स्टार्ट करें, गुरु की अगर हम बात करें, तो आपने हमेशा ऐसे अपने किरदार निभाए which are common people, जो एक बहुत बार क्या होता है कि that जो कॉमन पीपल होते हैं उनको जो शोकेस किया जाता है वो 6-pack abs के साथ में किया जाता है, and they're singing songs in Switzerland. But you had a certain way of dealing with realism and you stuck to it. Now it is becoming the norm. People prefer that. People like that element of realism in the way a character looks like, the way he talks, the way he behaves. Do you think that your belief of your earlier days that has paid off in a way, because now Yuva is a classic, Guru is a classic, and when you are doing something like Big Bull, people know कि yeah, Abhishek अगर है तो उसमें that element of realism पे definitely ध्यान दिया गया.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say, but I don't look upon it as it being a payoff or something. I've always done the work that I believed in and done it the way I believed to be correct. It was not done with any other ulterior motive. So, I mean, whatever work I got, for example, I did Guru, as you mentioned, Guru, I was shot in 2006. I was 29, 30 years old when I made that film. I played a 70-year-old character in that. I put on weight for it back then. Now almost 15 years ago. It was unheard of in those days. But I just did it because that is what the character needed. And I feel, the films that we make, I feel our actors, all of them, do justice to the character because they portray the character the way it's intended to be portrayed. I think it'll be wrong of me to say that, I put on weight 15, 20 kilos, 15 years ago, people are doing it now. No, they've always done it. I think actors have always done it. It'll be wrong of me to try and take credit. I've just been an actor who wanted to do the best job that I could for the character that I was to play. And part of an actor's job is to sell the fact that they are that character and sell it to the audience to make it believable. And you do whatever it takes. And I'm an actor who believes that the physicality of a character, if you can look like the character, have the same body language, all that, 50% of your acting is done right there. So I've always been an actor who believed in looking the part when I had the opportunity. So actors have always done that. I'm not somebody who's been a pioneer, and I think it'll be wrong of me to take any sort of credit. But I thank you for those gracious words. But like I said, I'm just happy that I get to create these characters and make them as believable as possible.
in the promo there is a dialogue that इस देश में हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, नकली promoters use कर सकते हैं, पुलिस को रिश्वत दे सकते हैं, मीडिया को धमका सकते हैं, लोगों को खरीद सकते हैं, कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, बस एक रूल है, पकड़े नहीं जा सकते. Now, there have been occasions in the recent past when certain dialogues and certain things have been out of context when it comes to certain maybe series, web series, web shows, or movies. Does that worry you as a creative person that something may be taken out of context and it can
No.
go out of proportion?
No, because if it's taken out of context, you've answered the question right there. It's out of context. So once you get the context, then there won't be any sort of problem, right? So yeah, no, I'm not concerned about that.
Okay, now you're having Carrie Minati's number in that Yelgar. He's hugely popular boy, and he's someone who's I think totally has baffled everyone with his popularity. How much of a trump card is that song for you guys? Because many a times I think he's got a massive popularity of his own.
I have to, full disclosure, I have to be completely honest. That his song Yalgar was not in the film initially. During the lockdown, when they were editing the film, Ajay actually found the song. And he really liked it. He said, "What do you think of the song?" And I was a bit clueless. I didn't know who Carrie Minati was. And he said, "There's this boy, Carrie Minati." And I think Ajay also knew who he was. And then because he had done this song, so I discovered him for the musician that he is. And now you come to know when we, did some research on him that he's this huge influential character on social media. So I discovered, why he actually became very famous initially for, being a social media influencer after I got to know that he was this wonderful musician. And that's how we stumbled upon the song. And we felt it was very fitting for the attitude of the film that we were making. And that's how it came about. And I'm very happy with the track. I think he's fantastic. I'd love to do some work with him. Do something together. Maybe we can collaborate on a song together or something. Let's see. But we're very happy that he agreed to be a part of the film and very thankful to him.
Okay, when you're having actors like Saurabh Shukla opposite you, is it fun? Is it a learning experience? What sort of an experience is that?
I think Faridun, especially in the last couple of years, the kind of actors that get cast in every role, even if they have one scene, actors have finally understood that it's not the length of the role, it's the impact of the role that matters. So we're getting such wonderful actors. And anytime you have actors like Saurabh ji, or any of the other actors, we have Iryana, Nikita, we had Supriya ji, you have Soham, there's such wonderful, wonderful actors. And I've always said, I end up living off reflected glory. They make me look so good, and I'm so thankful. And I really think that they, Cookie managed to put together such a wonderful ensemble cast that made everything just so much fun to be on set.
We've taken a few fan questions for you, Abhishek, on Twitter. Let's see what your fans have to ask you. Let's take a few of them. This is, what have you learned about yourself since you became a celebrity? This is Prabhakar Mukhi from Bankura, West Bengal.
That I actually have a very thick hide. My skin is a lot thicker than I thought it was before.
And how important is it to have a thick skin in your profession?
It's very important. It's equally important to have thick skin and know how to deal with negativity. But also you have to be sensitive enough to be able to understand where it's coming from, why it's coming, and try to rectify it.
And what is the importance of sense of humor in dealing with
I think you have to look, in life, you should have a sense of humor. We kind of take ourselves a bit too seriously. Life is serious enough as it is. Learn to laugh at yourself. It's important.
Would you want to write a book at some time?
Oh God, I've never thought about it.
Right.
I never say never, but I've never thought about it. It's not a thought that's even crossed me. Not that I've achieved anything to be able to write a book about any which way, but no, I've never even thought.
I think you've achieved a lot, but many a times when you do certain replies on social media, do you surprise yourself? Yaar, ye maine kaise itna witty reply maine diya hai? People are going gaga over it because you've done it many a times.
No, man. No, I don't think about, well done, you gave a witty reply. No. That's my sense of humor, and my thing is it's fair game. Faridun, if you're going to take a pot shot at me, I have every right to take a pot shot back at you. You know, and like I said, I don't take it all too serious. Laugh at yourself as well. You know, somebody cracks a good joke at my expense and I think it's genuinely funny and they're just not trying to be nasty, then I applaud that. I think it's great. We should learn to laugh at ourselves.
Because you know why it is so interesting when you tend to reply is that you tend to be extremely democratic in terms of you reply in a civil manner. Because many times on social media, people start bashing and expletives they tend to fly. Even so, when you are replying, you tend to do it in a witty manner, in a fun manner, and a convincing manner, which is something which is very unique.
That's just my language, Faridun, you know. And I also believe that the minute you start hurling expletives at somebody in criticism, you've already lost the argument right there and
Absolutely.
there. So that's it. That's just the way. I mean, I guess I speak. I don't know how else to answer that question.
No problem. This is Kunali Shah from LA, a long-time fan, also a die-hard Laker fan. What project are you looking forward to jump into next?
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to hear you're a Laker fan, although we're having a slightly bad run right now with LeBron and Davis both out injured. But I'm excited. I read a news that they're making a web show on the Showtime Lakers, which is going to be a lot of fun. You know, ever since I've completed Big Bull, I've completed another movie called Bob Biswas. That's in post-production right now. Shujoy and Dia are editing the film as we speak. I finished Bob Biswas. I'm currently talking to you from Agra, where I'm shooting for my next film, Dasvi. And by the end of April, which is next month, I'll finish Dasvi as well. And then I move on immediately to shoot the next season of Breathe and finish that. And after that, I get on to doing a film with my dear friend John. We're both going to be doing a film together after 13 to 14 years. So that's a project I'm very excited about. So these are the next 2-3 films that are lined up.
Tell us something about the film with John, please.
It's a bit premature to talk about it right now. You know, Faridun, it's a remake of a Malayali film, and there, you know, the directors and all the entire team is just being locked in. John called me during the lockdown and said, "Look, I've seen this film. I've got the rights. We should do this. What do you think?" I saw it. I loved it. I said, "Absolutely, let's do it." We've been looking out for a film to do together for several years, ever since we made Dostana together. We had worked before that in Dhoom, but John is somebody who's been a dear friend for a very, very long time. He's very, very close to me, somebody I really, really care a lot about and consider him to be a very solid, dear friend of mine. And I'm very happy that we're finally going to get the opportunity to do a film together. And this time it's a film that, I mean, it's a kind of a film that we've not done together in the past. Our last film was Dostana, so this is nothing like Dostana. And it should be a lot of fun. So he's still putting everything together and finalizing everything. So I think it'll be a bit premature to talk about it, but it's a film I'm very excited about.
So I spoke to John and Imran, I think a few days back, and I told both of them that you guys are sex symbols in your own way. So I reminded Imran about John's scene in Dostana when he's coming out of the sea and the yellow trunks. And he said, Imran said that scene is an equivalent to Bo Derek's scene from James Bond.
And Bo Derek has nothing on John Abraham. Nothing.
All right, this is Mirza from Qatar. What was Junior Bachchan's reaction when a similar story on Mehta came out and it was a huge hit? Did it affect you in your preparation for Big Bull? Had you already shot the film before?
Yes,
you guys
we finished shooting Big Bull in December 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had actually announced, it was meant to release theatrically, Faridun, in October last year.
Yeah.
So we had finished shooting already.
Correct.
And the film was ready. And then the lockdown happened, unfortunately. And that's when Ajay and Anand Panditji came and he spoke to me and said that, look, this lockdown has happened. We don't know what's going to happen. At that point of time, about April last year, you know, there was no clarity of when the lockdown was going to end. Our cinema is going to open up. If they do open up, at what capacity will they open up? And regardless of what capacity they open up on, are people going to have the confidence to go? So there was a lot of uncertainty about how films are going to be exhibited. And that's when Ajay and Anandji, you know, came up with the idea that why not release it digitally, because at least then people will get to see the film, because we really don't know when the film is going to come out. And at that point in time, the film was ready. So we took that decision. Once that decision was taken, Ajay and Cookie both felt that because now it's going to come direct to digital on a streaming platform, they wanted to add 1 or 2 elements to the film. So we had about 4 or 5 days of patchwork that we added on which got delayed because then I came down with COVID and they had to wait for 2-3 months for me to fully recover before we could shoot it again. So we did that patchwork in about September last year. But the film get finished shooting in December 2019.
Okay, taking on from OTT, there's a question from Moses Sapir from Israel. So he has praised all the work that you've been doing.
I have a question for Moses. Where does he find these photographs from?
That is, I think, a lot of people.
It's unbelievable. He has a treasure chest and he has the greatest archival footage and photographs in the film industry, period. I want to know where he gets all his photographs from.
No, I think that's something that even I have a question for him. In fact, we did an interview with your fans, Moses included, during when you guys were in hospital.
Yes, I saw that. It was very kind of you.
So Nitish was there and Moses was there. So okay, now so he's basically saying after such great performances and after such huge roles that are coming, it's a proof that Abhishek is one of the most talented actors the industry have these days. What is Abhishek's opinion about the future of Hindi cinema? In the next 2-3 years, is still big films will go to OTT platforms? Is OTT film as the big ball will have the same popularity as film releasing in cinema halls? The film and Abhishek role looks fantastic. So this entire debate on
it's an important debate. Yeah. My opinion on that, Faridun, is we had a similar debate when the advent of satellite television happened. That, television is coming now, nobody's going to go to the cinemas. People still went to the cinemas. People still watch television. Now we have streaming platforms that have come in. Hence, the debate starts again. Cinemas are not going anywhere. Cinema, movies and cinema is like a religion in India. We love it. We're passionate about going to the movies. As and when it's absolutely safe again, we're going to go back to the movies. We're going to throng to the theaters. I'm sure of that. I can't wait. The smell of the popcorn, the samosa, the cold drink, sitting in that room, watching a movie, your favorite stars. I mean, it's an experience which cannot be duplicated. But there is streaming platforms and it's going to be a different avenue altogether. For example, if you made a TV serial the way it's made for television and made it into a movie, it's not going to work. Well, most of the time, I'm sure there'll be exceptions to the rule. But a TV serial that's made for a television audience is not going to work as a film, and vice versa. Now, a film, if made for a cinema audience, is just put onto digital. It's a different requirement by the audience on digital. I think the writing process that goes into making a web series or a movie that goes for digital is slightly different. So it's just going to be a parallel avenue to showcase talent and content. It's going to have a different approach to cinema. Cinema can afford to still be larger than life. We can still indulge in the pomp and pageantry that we have and we all love about Indian cinema. I think that has to be adapted slightly for digital. So I see the future is bright because it's, with yet another platform, not just television and, movies in theaters. Now you have a digital platform which is going to allow so much more talent to come through the system, be it writers, directors, actors, producers, technicians. So I think it's a very positive sign. I think we're in for some very exciting times ahead in Indian cinema. And I think the future looks very, very bright.
All right. This is Prabhakar Mukhi from Bankura, West Bengal. If you could do a movie of a different language, which language would you choose?
I don't know. I've never thought about that. I guess it depends on the story, right? I mean, the language. I mean, if it's a language and I'm really convinced about the story, it's a language that I don't know. I'd obviously like to learn the language first. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the script is.
Okay, this is Fenul Seta from Mumbai. When is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Mrs. Jaya Bachchan taking the vaccine?
My mother, because of Parliament, she's already taken a vaccination. I think that was a requirement for parliamentarians. My father still hasn't taken it. Thankfully, because of him getting COVID, he still has some antibodies, but he will take it as and when he does. Hopefully, he can take it as soon as possible. He qualifies now, being a senior citizen and having comorbidities. I'm sure he'll take it as soon as possible. Like I said, I think it's important to take the vaccination and we should do our best to try and vaccinate as many people as possible.
Okay, this is Rubina from Delhi. What has been your one greatest learning, each from the movies that did not work and those that did? Big fan. Love always.
Well, I'm a firm believer, Faridun, that there's success and there's no failure. There's always learning. So you turn your failures into a learning and it'll turn into a success. So every film teaches you something, teaches you what to do, what not to do, how to do things better. So every film has taught me so much. I still revisit a lot of my older work, make notes, try and improve myself. It's a constant process of learning.
What was Amitabh Bachchan's reaction after watching The Big Bull?
I don't want to say, I'll jinx it. He was very happy, but I won't say any more than that.
What's your biggest takeaway as an actor from The Big Bull?
That there's always room for improvement.
What fascinated you the most about the story of Harshad Mehta?
I think to have that meteoric rise, I mean, how he managed to maybe balance his genius with other aspects in his life. I think he's a very fascinating character.
Okay, one common quality between Harshad Mehta and you.
Our film isn't basically an autobiographical film, so it's an amalgamation of different things. But no, I don't think there are any similarities.
Who do you think is the Big Bull of Bollywood?
Picture to maine banai hai na. There's only one Big B. I'll settle with the Big Bull.
If you had to ask a question to following people, what would you ask them? Ajay Devgan.
How do you remain so nonchalant and remain so cool in the toughest of circumstances?
Okay. Nikita Datta.
So many questions. She's a fitness freak. I'll tell you how particular she is about what all she eats. My greatest highlight of doing Big Bull was I got to drink Gold Spot. No kid growing up in the 80s and 90s has a childhood without Gold Spot. The greatest kick was I got to drink Gold Spot during this film. So there's a shot in the song also where I take her to eat something and we're having Gold Spot.
Yeah.
Because she's so particular about what she eats, but she's an athlete, she's a runner and this and that. So she weighs all her food and all of this. And I was playing Hemant Shah, so I put on weight for the film and I was eating whatever I wanted. Aur yahan mujhe Gold Spot mil gaya. So in the take, we both went to sip and the straw, you can see the Gold Spot coming up. So she'd take it just to her lips and she wouldn't drink it. So my question is, how can you not drink Gold Spot? I finished some 10 bottles in that. I said, nahi, ek aur take karne ho, theek se nahi hua, because I wanted to drink more Gold Spot. And you'll get this. I mean, we all loved Gold Spot, right? Growing up. I mean, that whole orange lip was like, I've arrived. How can you not give in to the temptation of Gold Spot?
Ileana D'Cruz.
What would I not ask Ileana is the more important. But she's very cool, you know. I've only met her once or twice before that socially. And when I worked with her, she has such an immense body of work, but she carries it very lightly, you know. She's been working for so long. She's done so many different language films and such successful films, but she's still so chilled out about her talent. And I really admired that about her. So how does she manage to do that?
Complete the following sentence, please. I'd want the world to remember me as an actor who
entertained them. Hey guys, I'm Abhishek Bachchan and you are watching BollywoodHungama.com.